I am Nikki.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome to the Grimdark Diaries.
We're your geek gal pals obsessed with true crime and all things dark and disturbing.
Hi, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Grimdark Diaries. We are a true crime podcast, but we also talk about spooky things and paranormal things and supernatural things.
Pretty much all the dark and disturbing things.
Oh my, you think that we would have a tagline or something
right?
for that. I think yesterday I saw a ghost in my car.
I'm sorry, what? A ghost in your car?
Yes. So I went and got my hair did yesterday, and then I was driving home, and it was night. So it was dark, and it was raining.
Mm-hmm.
And remember how I said I have horrible mirror fear? And one of them is that I'll look in my rearview mirror, and I'll see like something or someone in the back seat.
Yep.
So I was driving on the highway, and it's a part of the highway I dislike. It goes on like a real big curve, and it's downhill. And so I was driving, and I thought I saw something in my mirror. So I like flicked my eyes quickly up into the mirror, but I had to quickly because I was on like this sharp turn.
Yeah.
And I saw something. I swear I saw something in my backseat, and I was like, "Oh my god!" But I had to look at where I was going.
Oh my god!
So I had to wait until I like got into the curve a bit, and then I looked back up at my mirror, and there was nothing there. But I swear I saw something.
That would terrify the crap out of me.
It frightened me. But I was so like scary. in I had to drive good situation.
I had to drive good.
I had to have my driving wits about me, so I didn't crash.
Well, that's a definite good thing for sure. But I would have probably pulled over and been like, "What the fuck was that?"
Oh, I'm not pulling over at night on the highway.
Yeah, that's true too. That's not a good idea.
No, that's how murders happen.
Murders, not car accidents, just murders.
I mean, why not both?
Why not? Why not both? Well, that's a little terrifying. I consistently see the, shadows and things in my peripherals all the time in my apartment now. It's like constant. I have no idea why. I'm always seeing, like, just before we started this recording, I saw something like in my monitor that looked like my cat walking by, but my cat was nowhere near the area, so I know it wasn't her. And yeah, constantly seeing like little black shadows in the corner of my eye, and I think I see
maybe you have a brain tumor.
Oh god, please. Oh, I have been getting headaches a lot recently, so that's something.
You never know. My husband told me he says he has a squiggly line in his vision
just all the time.
Yes.
What? I have had squiggly lines in my eyes before, but it's usually just like gone after a little while.
No, and I kind of always thought he meant he must have like a scratch on like the surface of his eye or something.
Right.
But then he said the other day that it like if he looks over to the right, it like moves to the left.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, that's probably a brain tumor. You probably have some kind of brain tumor. And you should probably see a doctor."
Oh my gosh. That's really not good at all.
No, it's not.
No, he should.
So there you go. If you see weird things, maybe go see a doctor.
Yeah, it's not like a squiggly line in my eye though. It's like a legitimate shadow of something. I actually, I moved my desk, and I'm now facing the opposite direction that I used to be facing in. But the way that I used to face was kind of at the wall, but the door to outside was to my left. And I'm used to seeing my cat walk either outside, like from the door area. My bedroom's also down there. So like either coming down the hallway and just sitting there, and she'll just stare at me. It drives me crazy. And I never know what she wants, but she just sits there and stares at me. Or coming out of the kitchen, because that's where her food used to be, and doing the same thing, just sitting there. So I would see that out of the corner of my eye. And maybe it's just like a shadow of her normal self of doing that so many times that it was just like all I could see was something coming around the corner and sitting there. Like I thought it was my cat. Every time I look over, nothing was there. It's just
that's probably not good.
No, it freaks me out so much.
So we're having a haunted week. I
Yeah.
guess we've come to that conclusion.
It seems to be. I feel like maybe the veil is thin. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
I mean, I don't know why it would be right now, but
Halloween in April.
no, but it is Beltane this weekend.
I don't know what that means. What is that?
It's a pagan holiday.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Yep, it's a good one. It's all about sex.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is spring. That makes sense. Yeah. So when
Yeah.
babies should be.
This is the fertility one.
Yeah, that's right.
So everyone get your maypoles, which is just a big old dick.
Oh, I will never forget that. You told me that. Oh man, it's just, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And
Yeah.
I had such an innocent mind about it.
Yeah, beautiful maypoles with ribbons.
Right, exactly. Where the maidens would dance in their flowery dresses.
Yeah, they would, because fertility and things.
Exactly. Oh, so funny. So funny how things that were so innocent once in your life get turned into something dirty that you'll never get out of your mind.
I mean, it's not dirty.
Okay, well.
And it wasn't turned into it. That was its original purpose.
I didn't know that, though. When it is as innocent as it was, because I wasn't thinking about it as being like that shape. I was just thinking about it being like a pretty thing that had flowers on it and people danced around with ribbons and pretty flowery dresses. I don't know. It was a spring thing. It just didn't. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's May Day. It still makes it magical.
It is magical. This is how babies are born.
That's going to be our lesson for today.
Yeah, apparently.
We're haunted and Megan is going to tell everybody where babies come from.
I am not going to tell everybody where babies come from. Maypoles make it happen, though, and magic. Apparently.
Maybe somebody should be telling Megan where babies come from.
Oh, man. I do know the answer to that. Not like that acronym that you told me that one time, the HJ.
An HJ?
Was it an HJ or BJ? Oh, no. I would know what a BJ was.
It was an HJ.
Yeah, it was an HJ.
Because I said an icy HJ.
Yeah, that's
HJ.
right.
And luckily our listeners commented on our Instagram and they made sure, they were like, does Megan know?
Yeah.
I was like, don't
listened
worry.
back when I was editing that podcast and I was like, oh God, I'm such an idiot. Yeah, I knew what it was. I just didn't know in the moment. That's all. I don't know. My brain is slow. It takes time to process things.
Mine is just always going. It's like rapid fire. So I'm never really quite sure what'll come out of my mouth.
It's quite funny, actually. Most of the time you're very entertaining to listen to.
Hey, thanks. I try and hold it in sometimes.
No,
I know
don't.
I can be a lot.
You absolutely should never hold it in. You should always be you.
Yeah. And plus I'm in an extra good mood because I'm on vacation. I don't have to go to work for the next 2 days. And then I have 2 days off. And I'm really excited because I've been extremely stressed and I cry a lot. But now I'm in a good mood. I was going to have a drinky poo tonight.
Oh.
I know, but I'm not because I got to get up early tomorrow and do stuff. I have to run errands.
That's fair. I can understand that.
And I'd want to sleep in if I had a little nighttime beer.
That is absolutely fair. Although we'll have another opportunity maybe next week to have a drink together.
Yeah, next week is my birthday. So
yes, so exciting. Another year around the sun. This time we can, actually enjoy it without a pandemic shutting you down, though.
I mean, unless I get COVID.
Please stop. I guess that is a possibility.
It is. Don't worry. I won't.
Okay, yeah. We'll just say that that's how it's going to go and put that out there in the universe and you'll just be free of COVID forever. At least till after your birthday.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm ready for aliens.
Aliens, yes. Aliens is what we are talking about today. I'm so excited. I freaking love talking about aliens. This is a story that I didn't actually know, and I hope that it's new for you guys too, but if not, that's okay too, because it'll be my spin on it. So, did you know that the Men in Black were based on real people?
I did not.
Okay, so this is so interesting, apparently. And I mean, we all know that like UFOs have been kind of talked about and apparently seen for centuries, but we don't really have.
You say that like you don't believe.
Well, no, I just mean like because there's no real recordings for any sightings back like centuries ago. Not really anyway. Nothing until like the 50s, 1950s. And especially about these men in black. So stories of these encounters go back as far as just the 1950s. They'll only show themselves, apparently, when someone has claimed to have seen a UFO or has been researching heavily about UFOs.
So now they're going to come see you.
Oh, God.
Because you've been doing this
I didn't
research.
think about that. You know what? That'll just add to my belief that UFOs are real and aliens are real. And if they try to snap a pen at me, I will close my eyes. That's how that works, right?
I'm sure no one's ever thought to do that.
I'm on
have
to
no
you.
fail-safe.
Right. Exactly. These men are described as basically being expressionless. They had a cold, calculated look on their face.
Are they going to say they always have a cold?
They always have a cold.
Like, oh no.
They get the sniffles. No, they didn't always have a cold, but they were cold. Their personality, I guess, would be described as cold. They always wore black suits, hence the men in black terminology. Some even say that they are sinister and even inhuman, which is, you'll see why soon. Their entire purpose seems to be that they want to scare people or even threaten them from ever talking about UFOs, about their experience, that they ever existed, whether it be about seeing something or researching, whatever they were into. These people just wanted to scare these researchers or the people who had the experience. They just want to scare or threaten them into saying that they never actually saw what they saw or whatever the case may be. So basically they would walk up to a person. They would sometimes produce a card that had the word security written on it. And if there was more than one
like
of
just
them,
a card that says security,
just security
in like
that's
Comic Sans,
literally Comic Sans. Could you imagine?
That's what I'm picturing. I need to visualize everything that happens.
I think it was Arial or maybe Calibri.
Arial font,
Yeah.
Slightly more professional.
A little bit, yeah. But that's
did it have like their
literally
names
all that was
or their
on
picture?
It. Nope, it was just the word security. That's
okay.
Yep.
So we know what we must do.
Right.
Print off.
That's right.
The card
Exactly.
that says security.
And we have to wear black suits. If there was more than one of them, then they would call each other by their number, not their name. Unless, of course, their names were a number. Like, do you remember Blossom, that show? Her friend whose name was 6. Do you remember that show? Oh, that might be aging
Blossom
me.
was one of my favorite shows. And I
Oh,
wanted to be
good.
just
Okay,
like her.
good. Really?
I had a hat just like hers.
Oh my God. Like the bowler hats? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a bowler hat.
Yeah.
But it was one of those. No, it was a bucket hat, and it went up into like a rose on the front.
Gosh, I know
like
exactly.
the brim. It was made of
Yes.
of denim, so it looked like jeans, and it was a bucket hat, and it like the brim came to the front and went into this giant spiraled rose on the front.
This is turning into better than I actually hope this conversation.
And I was
would
obsessed
go.
with it. And also, I always quote Joey from Blossom, but my husband has never seen it. So something will happen and I'll go, whoa, whoa.
Yes.
and my husband will just look at me and I'm like, it's from Blossom.
Yes.
And he's like, I don't know what you're saying.
Oh my gosh. I don't know
He
how
doesn't get it.
we've never done that to each other because I do that all the time too.
Really?
If a situation requires a woe to be said, that is how I say it always.
Yeah, you got to say it like him.
Yes, I love that so much. Oh, it's such a good show. So yeah, her friend on that show, her name was 6. So I think that was the first case of a person with a name that was a number in my personal experience growing up, which I always thought was very interesting. And then we also have 7 of 9 from Star Trek Voyager, of course, which is ultimately the best Star Trek ever. And you can fight me on that because that is something that I truly believe anyway.
I certainly won't fight you because I don't know Star Trek.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot of people that are like, what? And those people will be like, no, Star Trek Deep Space Nine is the best one ever because it's literally one or the other. I feel like anybody...
Is that the one? What's the one with the... Oh my God, my sister's going to kill me. Janeway, is that her name?
Janeway is Star Trek Voyager. Yes.
Okay, I watched a lot of episodes of that because my mom would watch it.
Yes. And that's the one that Garrett Wong is in. And we get to meet Garrett Wong, if you recall, at
Yeah, we hung out with him
Halifax
a bunch.
convention.
We used to go drinking with him.
Yes, I loved it. That was so much fun.
He's always a good time.
Yeah, and he did that cool light show. Do you remember at the dance? He did there was a dance at the
I
Halifax
forgot about
Comic
that.
Convention. He did it was like a rave light show. I didn't even know he did stuff like that. It was really, really cool. Very cool. Yeah, that was probably one of my most favorite years of HalCon, I think. It was so much fun. Anyway, I digress. So yes, this story is about aliens, but it's also going to be about what happens after the alien or / UFO encounter happens. That is truly terrifying. This is what I feel anyway. Okay, so I was going through a few stories. It was from a Distractify article where both the alien and UFO encounter occurred, and then shortly thereafter, a man in black showed up and did their thing. So our first story is going to take place it's called Puget Sound. I believe that is how you pronounce it, and I apologize if it is not. Is
that 2 words or 1 word?
2 words. Puget Sound in Washington State on June 27th, 1947, around 2 in the afternoon. And it involves a man whose name is Harold Dahl and his 15-year-old son, Charles, their dog, and 2 crewmen as well. And the reason he has crewmen is because he is the captain of a patrol boat on a conservation mission. They were gathering logs, I guess. And what happened was he was steering close to the shore of a bay on Maury Island when he looked up and saw 6 donut-shaped aircrafts. He said that
flying donuts?
Yeah, they were flying donuts. They had sprinkles.
So wait, they had no center?
I don't know. He didn't ever specify. He didn't elaborate. He just said
a donut shape is a very specific shape.
It is. I agree.
That means it's centerless.
That's what it sounds like to me. Yes.
That's interesting because usually UFOs are not centerless.
It could have been that they were translucent, or maybe he just couldn't see.
You eaten translucent donuts?
I have. You haven't?
I think if they're translucent, they're probably a little too greasy.
Gross. So much oil.
Oh.
I know.
It's been a really long time since I've eaten a real donut.
God, me too, actually. For probably not as long as you, but definitely almost a year.
I miss donuts.
Yeah,
I used to get the chocolate toasted coconut donuts from Tim Hortons.
Oh, those are so
my
good.
Heart.
Oh, anything
I could
coconut.
eat like half a dozen of those.
Oh my gosh. I used to get the honey dip or the honey crullers. Oh my God. I can't talk about this. I'm very sad I can't eat those anymore. So I guess these donut shaped aircrafts were about a half a mile above his boat. Very shortly after he first saw them, one of them dropped 1,500 feet and then immediately starts falling apart into pieces that Harold and his crew thought were thousands of newspapers or something similar.
What?
I don't know. I don't ask questions. I just relay the news.
Like rolled up newspapers, like pages from newspapers?
I think what he thought was they looked like papers and they fell like paper. Like, I think it was just like a weird lightweight whatever. So what it actually turned out to be was very lightweight white metal that fell softly to the earth. It's not as glamorous as it sounds, though, because Harold described these pieces of metal as lava, however you pronounce that, lava rocks.
Oh, so like the ash that comes from lava?
Yeah, but like rocks. So he said one of them actually broke the arm of one of his crew members, and very sadly and tragically, and I'm so sorry for anybody who has love for animals, trigger warning, but it also killed their dog.
There's a lot happening right now.
I know.
I'm trying to visualize what's happening, and it's like watching that movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Right?
Like stuff just keeps, I'm like, okay, giant donut. Okay, they're dropping. They're falling apart. Paper's falling. Lava's falling. Lava ash. Now it's rocks. Now it's crushing people. Now it's killing people.
Legitimately, you just took the whole story I just told and like summarized it.
There you go. Condensed stories with Nikki. Join us next week, and I will take Megan's 4 hours of research and I'll spit it out in 30 seconds.
She does the TLDR versions of my stories. Yeah. Perfect. Yep, that was exactly what happened.
So did they save some of these rocks?
Yes. So Harold also, he had a camera with him as well. So he took some photos of the aircrafts. And he took these photos to his supervisor, whose name is Fred Chrisman. Fred, like all of us, was a little skeptical of Harold's story. So he decided to drive out to the area by Maury Island and wanted to see for himself what Harold was talking about. So while Fred was at the scene, he too saw a strange aircraft, apparently. He allegedly picked up some debris from that ship that had disintegrated. I think that when Harold was out there, he kind of like freaked out. His dog had just passed away and his friend's arm had been broken. So he decided to like leave. I don't think he thought about taking any of the debris, but Fred took some when he went out there. The following morning, a man in black allegedly stopped by Harold's house to visit, and they somehow ended up going to a local diner. I'm assuming they decided to go talk at a local diner. I don't know why. Anyway, the man in black told Harold what he knew about what Harold saw without Harold.
How did he know?
Right. He was able to tell Harold's experience back to him with incredible detail without Harold ever telling him a thing. The man in black said to Harold, quote, "What I have said is proof to you that I know a great deal more about this experience of yours than you will ever want to believe." End quote. So this quote was taken from a book called They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers, which was written by Gray Barker in 1956. You can still buy that book today. I looked it up. The man in black apparently had fogged up all the photos that Harold had taken and then threatened him by saying that bad things would happen if he ever spoke about the incident with anyone. So you're going to be mad at me, but it was important to tell this story. This story actually ended up being a hoax. And the reason why I bring it up is because this is the first story about Men in Black. So the U.S. government released a document called Project 1947. And within this document, Harold and Fred both admitted that the story wasn't real and that the disc fragments that they had were in fact unusual rock formations that they had found on Maury Island. However, 3 days before Harold's story was Kenneth Arnold's story. And if you've ever heard this name before, it was likely due to the fact that he was known as the man who introduced the world to flying saucers. On June 24th, 1947, so this was 3 days before Harold's story, Kenneth, an amateur pilot who hailed from Idaho, was over Mineral, Washington.
Idaho.
Wow, I've never heard that before, which
really
seems really weird because I feel like that's something that people say. He was flying over Mineral, Washington, flying his small plane, which was a Call Air A2. We have a picture of him with that airplane, which is kind of cool. He was on his way to an air show in Oregon. While flying, he then saw a bright flash of light with a hint of blue. Then there were 9 flashing glints of the same color light. And then he saw them. There were 9 flying objects flying in a, quote, diagonally stepped down echelon formation that stretched out over a distance that he later calculated to be 5 miles, end quote. He said they didn't appear to be manned by pilots, that they were moving side to side and flipping, banking, like just making all these weird, crazy moves, all in unison. He calculated the time it took for these flying objects to go from Mount Rainier to Mount Adams, which is a distance he knew to be about 50 miles. And the time he calculated to be only 1 minute and 42 seconds to go 50 miles. That makes their speed about 1,700 miles per hour, more than twice the speed of sound. So to put it into context, that is 3 times faster than any aircraft could even fly back then.
How was he gathering this much information if they were going that fast?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how he managed to. He didn't calculate this till later, but he did capture it somehow and was able to bring this into writing later on. So he went about the rest of his trip, and when he started telling his story, it would spread like wildfire. And so history was made. He was known as the person to first call them as flying saucers, apparently, although that turned out not to be true either. It was just the way that the reporter had twisted his words or something like that. But then it took off, so flying saucers is how they ended up being called, and that's what Kenneth Arnold is known for.
Yeah, these ain't no flying donuts.
Right? And so because this happened 3 days before Harold's incident, people are thinking that they just wanted the fame, obviously, which is very true. However, the reason I told that story is because it is the first story that the Men in Black were discussed. So every story after this, obviously, take at your own discretion. But there is one photo, and it's a little creepy, I'm not going to lie. But these stories are very legit and from many different people and from many different times in history. So the next story we're going to cover is about a man whose name was Robert Richardson. He lived in Toledo, Ohio. And this incident occurred sometime in July 1967. So that was 20 years after the first incident. So-called incident. Robert claims that he had been driving at night and he came up on a bend in the road. As he rounded the corner, he noticed something on the road, but he didn't get to stop in time. He slammed on his brakes and very lightly collided with the object. He had been able to slow down in time enough so that the damage wasn't too bad. He said that as soon as he had hit the object, it disappeared in front of his eyes. Of course, Robert immediately went to the police to tell them what happened and claimed he had hit a UFO. They escorted Robert back to the scene to see what the damage was. All they found was Robert's skid marks in the road, and that was it. But it was still nighttime. So Robert went back at a later date during the day when he could see better, and he found a small piece of metal that he had suspected may have come from from the UFO. A few days later, there were a couple of men that looked to be in their 20s that stopped by to interview him about the crash. They were only there for about 10 minutes, and they gave off no strange vibes, except for the fact that it was 11 p.m. when they arrived. I'm sorry, I'm not answering the door if you knock on it at 11 p.m.
Absolutely not. I won't answer my door if you knock anytime,
yeah,
but
fair.
Especially not 11 p.m.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll look at my security camera and I'll put the speaker on it and I'll be like,
go away.
I help you.
Go
or
away.
if you're Megan, you just tell them to leave.
You're not welcome here. Go away.
It depends. Usually if someone's at my door, they have food or a package for me.
True. Very true. If I am home alone at 11 p.m. and I see 2 men at my door, there's no way I'm opening that door.
No. Oh, well, my security camera goes off as soon as somebody steps foot on our property.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So then I know if I need to hide to pretend like I'm not home.
So after these 2 men left, Robert made note that they drove a black 1953 Cadillac. And when he had their license number checked, later on, obviously, it apparently had never been issued to anyone, ever. A week later, 2 other men came to Robert's house to interview him. These men were dressed in black and drove a quote-unquote current Dodge vehicle. I say current because it was 1967. While they were talking, the men tried to convince Robert that he didn't hit anything at all. After some persuading, though, the men then started asking for the piece of metal that Robert had taken from the scene. At this point, Robert had already given the metal to the authorities at the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, or APRO is what their acronym is. He had given it to them for analysis. The men in black seemed furious by this and allegedly said, quote, "If you want your wife to stay as pretty as she is, then you'd better get the metal back." End quote.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
What if he was like, she ain't that pretty to begin with?
Right. Could you imagine? Oh my God. Like elbowing him and wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The odd thing about this comment, though, was that only Robert, his wife, and 2 senior officers at APRO knew about the piece of metal. So, like, how did these 2 guys in black know about it?
And why can't they just go to that center and get it?
Right? If they want it so bad, why don't they go get it themselves?
Just flash their sweet
security
Comic
badge.
Sans security piece of paper.
Exactly. You would think that's all it took. They don't have the actual pens from the movie. So now jumping into our third story, this time in 1968, so just a year later, in New Jersey. And this is with a man named Jack Robinson and his wife, Mary. Unlike the other cases, Jack never had an encounter with a UFO or an alien. He was a UFO researcher. And he was terrorized by the men in black. He was constantly being followed. He and Mary would come home and find that their apartment had been ransacked, and then find that his research had been stolen. Jack's friend, whose name is Timothy Green Beckley, thankfully was able to get a photo of one of these men in black. And yes, we will post the photo on Instagram later. Well, it'll be posted already by the time you hear this story, hopefully. This photo is one of the...
Don't make promises.
Okay, but like, you know, we like to try to post on Instagram the day that we post our story.
I guess this is Megan's episode, so that's on her.
That's right, exactly.
So if it's not there, come after Megan.
That's right. You can blame me. You can blame me anyway. It's fine. This photo is one of the only known photos of an alleged man in black. This was taken after the agent had stood outside of their apartment for 3 days. Mary had seen him standing out there in a doorway staring up at their apartment, which honestly, that just gives me chills to my bone. I couldn't even...
Like 3 days straight, or within 3 days they kept seeing him?
Well, it didn't specify. I assume it was like on and off for 3 days, but I don't know.
Well, if it's 3 days straight, then we know that they're the aliens.
Ooh. I mean, I guess I don't know if they like looked out their window for the entire 3 days, but enough to notice that it was 3 days and the guy was still standing there. Which is so horrifying.
What if the guy just brought a cardboard cutout and put it there?
Oh my
to,
God,
like,
could you
gaslight them?
imagine?
His manager was like, I need you to stand outside of their apartment for 3 days because we really got to, like, you know, put the pressure on them. And he was like, I ain't no fool. Work smarter, not harder.
Right.
And he just got a cardboard cutout, and then he put the cardboard cutout there. And then he's like around the corner at the pub having a little brewski with his friends.
Okay, but that could be. However, the photo is a side on, and
he doesn't look flat.
No, he doesn't look flat. He looks like an actual person who was, and the photo is creepy because he's literally looking up at the apartment in the photo. It's horrifying.
Oh God.
Okay, so we're on to story number 4. This story is about another UFO researcher whose name was Dr. Herbert Hopkins, and he lived in the state of Maine. One evening in 1976, while Dr. Herbert, this is what I'm going to call him through the whole story, Dr. Herbert was home working on his research while his wife and children were at the theater. He received a phone call from someone who said that they were a representative calling from a New Jersey UFO organization, and they wanted to stop by and chat with him about his research. He was super excited about this. He loved talking about his research, so he was like, yeah, definitely. So he gave his address to the person on the phone and then hung up. Immediately afterwards, there was a knock at the door. And I mean like immediately. He hung up and then there was a knock at the door. Dr. Herbert answered the door and saw a bald man who appeared to be hairless completely, with no eyebrows, wearing a black suit, standing there. Dr. Herbert said that his lips were really red and his skin was very white. He didn't understand how the man could have just hung up the phone that quickly and been walking up to his door at the same time. This was 1976, so like there's no cell phones or anything like that at the time. There were no payphones nearby. And he also took note that there was no vehicle in sight that the stranger could have driven up in. The man in black came up to the door and Dr. Herbert greeted him and just welcomed him inside. They chatted for a while about the UFO case that he had been working on. And during his conversation, he noticed that the man in black took a gloved hand, so his hands were gloved.
Were they blue gloves?
No. I think they said they were gray gloves or something. He took a gloved hand and wiped his mouth with it. And when his hand moved away, Dr. Herbert noticed a red smear. Like it was lipstick.
Oh, he was looking cute for Dr. Herbert. Okay. He's trying to get himself a date this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Could you imagine? That, or he would later recount that it could have been that it was worn to look like lips and a mouth when it didn't appear to be the right shape at all. So like it didn't look like he had lips or a mouth. Not a mouth. Okay. He had a mouth.
How was he speaking?
He was speaking. It was a mouth, but it wasn't like there's no lips. There's no like real shape to his mouth. So it looked like the lipstick was put on there to give it a shape, which is really creepy. The man in black then told Dr. Herbert that he had 2 coins in his pocket. He told Dr. Herbert that Dr. Herbert had 2 coins in his pocket, which he did, and asked him to pull one of them out. So when he did...
Okay, so he's a magician.
He's a magician,
as well.
That's
cool,
right. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep. When Dr. Herbert pulled out the coin, the man in black told him to watch it. So to just sit there and look at it. Weirdly, the coin started to change color from copper to silver, then to a blue. Then it started to get fuzzy, almost out of focus, which is weird. And then it was gone. It apparently slowly dematerialized. The man in black said, quote, "Neither you nor anyone else on this plane will ever see that coin again." End quote. The man in black then asked Dr. Herbert a random question: if he knew how Barney Hill died. If you don't know who Barney Hill is, he and his wife were 2 of the first people on record to have been abducted by aliens, brought to their UFO in 1961. Barney Hill reportedly had a heart attack shortly after, and that is how he had died. Well, the man in black told Dr. Herbert that that was incorrect, that he had actually died because he did not have a heart, just as Dr. Herbert no longer had a coin.
Oh my.
I know.
This is like a deep cut of a threat. Like, he's not just going in there being like, I will kill you if you speak. He's like, first of all, let me look my best. I'm going to put on my darkest rouge, so I'm looking cute. He shaved clearly. You said he was fully hairless. And we all know, ladies, before any date, you be shaving every hair that's on that body that's not on your head or your lashes or your brows. You go in there with a whole body of shaving cream. So he was clearly getting ready to look cute for Dr. Herbert. Then he goes in. Then he talks to him for what, like an hour? Yeah. Then he does a magic trick. So he's like got him like wined and dined and dazzled and in the mood.
Yeah.
And then he goes in with the deep cut of a threat about his magic trick. I like this guy. I think he's not here to threaten. I think he's looking to get a date with Dr. Herbert.
You never know.
I'm cracking this whole case wide open.
You absolutely are, yeah.
It's like when they do like the Maleficent movie and everything's from her perspective and she's not she's not the villain.
Right?
Yes, now we got to look at it from this side. This guy is just trying to impress him. And he was just trying to be like, I have so much knowledge. Look at my talent.
So when I inevitably get the visit from this man in black for doing all my research about UFOs, I will hit on them back, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's what you got to do. You got to fight fire with fire.
Right. Okay. Got it.
So you got to do the like Sharon Stone basic instinct, cross your legs.
I'll be sure to not wear my underwear that day.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This story just got really wild. I'm like literally tearing up here. I'm trying to.
Also, I don't know why,
cool.
but when you were describing this person, because we got to remember that I always visualize exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
I, for some reason, pictured Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil?
Yeah.
The doctor or the person? Or the man in black?
That's who I pictured as him.
As
the
the
man in
doctor?
black.
Oh, the man in
Yes,
black.
with his
Okay.
mustache shaved off, of course.
Of course, yes, because he had no facial hair whatsoever, including his eyebrows were gone.
Yes.
That's interesting that you thought that, because like he's basically described as somebody who's emotionless, cold, pale white skin, like,
Yeah, bald.
no lips.
Yeah. So now, when everyone visualizes this, make sure it's Dr. Phil in the vision with the lipstick on, looking cute.
Okay. Looking cute. Oh man, trying to pick up Dr. Herbert.
Yeah. You don't think someone wants to pick up a doctor?
Fair. Well, if he's a doctor, he's trying to pick up a doctor. I mean, I guess keep your.
I don't think Dr. Phil's a real doctor.
Oh, I have no idea. I literally, I know nothing about
I heard that
him.
once, that he's not like a real doctor, which I don't know how you're allowed to say doctor if you're not.
No, I don't. I don't know either. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I choose not to pay attention.
No, that's not my kind of trashy reality TV.
Same. Okay, so no longer had a coin. Okay, cool. The man in black then told Dr. Herbert that he had tape recordings on the case. So he was telling Dr. Herbert what Dr. Herbert has. He has tape recordings on the case he had been working on. So just to go back a step or two, Dr. Herbert was a hypnotherapist doctor. And these recordings were of hypnosis sessions regarding UFO sightings. Dr. Herbert thought it was strange that he would know that, but he agreed that he did have these recordings. The man in black then told him that Dr. Herbert was going to destroy the tapes and any other documentation related to the case. Just matter-of-factly, you're going to destroy these things. After this, the man in black's speech got super slow and erratic.
I thought you were going to say erotic.
Erratic. Could you imagine?
It got super slow and erotic. Wow, chicka, wow, wow.
The story's taking on a whole new direction. Oh God. He being the man in black said that his energy was running low and he had to go, and left immediately. It was described as like almost like when a robot runs out of batteries. It was starting to get slow and erratic like that. And then he's like, I'm running out of energy. And he immediately left.
You know what that made me think of? I'm just really in my own space
and
today.
She is not drinking tonight, everybody.
No, I'm not. Guys, I had a really hard month. That made me think of that robot that was I don't know why I'm extremely drawing a blank. It wasn't Mars, was it? The one that's little batteries died and they said they translated its last message, and it was like, it's getting dark.
Was that Wall-E?
No, it was like a real thing, like a NASA thing.
A real thing. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. Was it one of the rovers?
I think so. And it died, like it finally ran out. Aww. And the last message it sent back to like the station on Earth was something like, it's getting dark.
Oh my God.
And like something else. Yeah. Okay. You keep telling your story. I'm going to Google this. Okay. I can't believe you haven't heard this.
I don't remember that happening. Oh.
It was recent in the last 2 years.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. The last 2 years have been a bit of a shit show. So as he left, the man in black, he didn't go straight down the walkway like he had coming up to the house. He went to the side of the building, and then he disappeared around the corner. And that's when Dr. Herbert claims to have seen a bright blue light, which he attributed initially to car headlights at the time, because that's all you can attribute to, of course. But when he stepped outside and he looked, he didn't see a car or any headlights. and the man was just gone. Not long after this visit had rattled him to his core, Dr. Herbert Hopkins destroyed all of his recordings and any documentation he had on the case he was working on. He in later interviews, would basically be like, I regret it. I don't know. He never heard from him again. He didn't know if he ever would hear from him again. This man in black gave him threats, of course. So it scared him. Like, of course he's going to destroy the evidence, but he didn't really, he was kind of regretting it that he did that, because he really wanted to keep this stuff so he could, keep working on his case. It's literally his job.
Okay, I Googled it.
Okay, and?
It was the Opportunity rover on Mars. Yeah. And I guess...
So sad.
I guess the internet really, blew it up. But it actually wasn't that adorable.
Oh, really?
But the internet really ran with it. Yeah, I guess some NASA people said, the last transmissions, and then some journalist basically kind of made it more poetic. But it did say, my battery is low and it's getting dark.
Oh...
But it was basically, I guess, the actual data transmission basically said, my power is becoming low and the skies are dark or something. It wasn't as cute.
But still,
anyway,
that's still
the
really
internet
cute.
Loved it. And there's a lot of artwork out there if you Google it of people.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I have to look it up. I will look it up after. Or you could just send it to me since you're on there anyway. Okay. In our penultimate case we're going to cover today is from a man that most people probably have heard of before. Dan Aykroyd.
Jason Momoa.
Oh, no. I wish.
Oh.
I wish it was a story about Jason Momoa. Then we would literally
just thinking about Jason Momoa.
Post pictures of Jason Momoa on our Instagram. We could do that anyway. I don't have a lot of pictures from these stories, so you can post whatever you want. No, we're going to talk about a story from Dan Aykroyd.
Isn't he Canadian?
Everybody knows Dan Aykroyd. Canadian actor.
I knew it.
He is from Ottawa. He was born on Canada Day. I didn't know that.
Oh, in Ottawa? What a precious treasure.
Seriously. Daniel Edward Aykroyd. Ghostbusters for life. I love Ghostbusters. Okay, so Dan Aykroyd, he too had a pretty scary experience with a man that was dressed in black after doing research into UFOs for his new series, new at the time, in 2002, which was called Out There on the Sci-Fi Channel. Have you ever heard of that series?
I have not. I don't have cable, though.
Well, you wouldn't have, because 8 episodes were filmed, but none of them actually aired.
That's disappointing.
Yep. And the reason is still unknown, why it was canceled. Dan was out on a smoke break during the taping of the final episode when 2 men, one was very tall, he mentioned that. There's a YouTube video of his interview talking about this. 2 men came out of a black Ford sedan. They looked right at him. And he was on the phone. I guess he was on the phone talking to Britney Spears. They were both going to be on SNL or something that following weekend. So they were just chatting about it. And so he thought it was strange.
That is so random.
I know, it was random.
It makes the story slightly less believable. He was just having a smoke break talking to Britney Spears.
Well, they were, we could probably corroborate the fact that they were on SNL together. Saturday Night Live, of course there's random he used to be one of the original OG recurring characters on the show. And Britney Spears obviously was big in 2002, so she was probably a singing guest.
Heck yeah, she was.
Yeah, so I know she still is amazing.
I saw her live once.
Did you actually?
I did, in Vegas.
You went to Vegas?
I sure did, for my homegirl's. Nice. I think it was her 30th birthday. I can't remember now. My brain is fuzzy, but her lovely husband flew us out to Vegas.
Yeah, I did know this. Yes, you've told me this story before. That's right.
Yeah, her and I had a great time, and we saw Britney Spears, and she was fabulous. Nice. Honestly, her backup dancers were the best part of the show.
Really? Is it because
oh my God, they were so good.
Oh. As a dancer, I guess.
She was good, but her backup dancers were amazing.
That's awesome. I feel like she always has top tier backup dancers. Okay, anyway, so these 2 men came out, they looked at him, He looked at them, thought it was weird. He looked away for a quick second, and then he looked back immediately, and he said the car had just completely vanished. It didn't drive past him or do a U-turn, as there was no way that it could have done that without him seeing it. And he only looked away for a second, and there was just no way that it disappeared the way it did. So he was like, that's weird. He just finished his conversation with Britt, and then he finished his smoke break, and he found out, he went back inside, and he found out that mid-shoot of their final episode, that the producers were instructed to stop filming and that the show had been canceled with zero reason given. In an interview with Dan Aykroyd, this interview on YouTube was in 2015, he said that he has the footage and was hoping someday he could release them on DVD. Well, it has been 20 years since 2002 and they have still not been released. So
wow.
I don't know what happened. So yeah, that's interesting. You can look that up on YouTube. What was it called? Men in Black on... No, that's not it. I don't remember what it's called, but just look up Dan Aykroyd, Men in Black incident. Out There is the name of the show that he had done. And it's all about like the research that he did on UFOs and stuff. So very interesting stuff. Okay. In the last case that we're going to be covering today, it's about a man whose name was Sovar. He was a manager at a hotel in Niagara Falls. He and a security guard both had seen a triangle UFO near the hotel and contacted the Aerial Phenomenon Investigative Team. I didn't know that there was an Aerial Phenomenon Investigative Team or research organization. I feel like I need to research more into these places because I just had no idea they existed. Apparently, this is just something people know. Anyway, this team came over to investigate what it could be. A few weeks later, 2 men in black came to this Niagara Falls hotel looking for the manager, Sovar, and the security guard, while also terrifying the staff that worked there. Like, so many witness accounts from the staff were just like, they were so scary. Neither Sovar or the security guard were present at the time. And so the witnesses to the 2 men coming in described them as being very tall. They had identical faces, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and extremely pale skin. And there is video evidence of this encounter that you can find on YouTube by searching Men in Black on security camera footage after UFO sighting. And that concludes the stories that I chose to write about today, because there are many more, but this episode would be another 2 or 3-parter if I kept going. I could just research this stuff all day long, honestly. It was so
It sounds like
fascinating.
they're aliens. Why do they all look alike? And why are they all hairless and bald and pale?
My theory is that
they're mole people.
They are aliens.
Mole people.
Dressed up. Not mole people.
That would explain why they're hairless and pale.
I don't think they had tails or funny looking snouts.
They evolved out of those.
Ah, I see. Evolution. Well, who are we?
It's an evolution of mole people.
Maybe. Who knows? My theory is that they are aliens disguising themselves as humans. And they don't
trying
actually
to get a
have lips. So they put on lipstick. And they wear they're fedora hats that they usually are wearing, even though you can tell that they're bald still, but they tend to wear like fedora hats or bowler hats sometimes to cover their bald heads. But I think that they are impersonating humans. That's my theory.
Well, they're not doing a very good job of being inconspicuous.
No, they're not. Not when there's so many witnesses. There's so many different accounts of these stories. Like, you can Google it yourself and just see so many random stories of people running into these men in black, which I had no idea are actually the movie was based on real people.
I've had the theme song in my head.
Have you?
This entire time. Absolutely. Just on loop.
Good. I'm glad, because that's a great movie.
I love Men in Black.
Yeah.
I used to watch that on repeat on my VHS.
VHS. Wow. I didn't even know they released that movie on VHS.
I think it was on my VHS.
Oh.
The first one anyway.
Maybe.
Maybe it was a DVD.
I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is I used to watch it as well, but I'm pretty sure mine was on DVD many, many times in a row. Actually, I think
Megan, you still got DVDs?
I still have DVDs.
Clean out that clutter. You don't need those DVDs. You're going to watch that movie from 20 years ago.
I still have DVDs. It's so funny too, because my sister and my stepsister both came up one weekend to help me like declutter, because I am a terrible, terrible nostalgic hoarder. So like anything that means anything to me, I will keep. And I need somebody to be here to be like, no, you don't need that. You're literally never going to touch that again, or you're never going to watch this. You're never going to do anything with this in the future. So I need people to be like, tough love. Mm-hmm. And then we have like a ceremony for me to say goodbye to it, so I won't miss it. I know, I'm so awful. Anyway, so they came up and my sister went through every single DVD with me one by one and was like, what does this mean to you? Do you think you will ever watch this again? And if I'm like, well, maybe, she's like, nope, that's too much of a hesitation. She chucks it.
I like it. That's my kind of cutthroat cleaning.
Yes, she is a minimalist by trade, and I feel like I need to be that way. I struggle. I struggle with it. I'm just like my mom that way. I have nostalgic things in my life, and I have trouble getting rid of them. I also am the type of person to like keep the boxes of everything that I buy that I know that I'm going to keep
my
and
husband
move
does that
with me. If I'm going to move it, like I have the box and all of the padding and everything for my computer. So if I ever do move, I know my computer is going to be safe and secure in the box that it came in, because it has all the original padding in it and stuff. And same thing with like some of the other stuff that I buy, especially if it's electronic. I mean, I work in IT, so of course, anything electronic I need to make sure is going to be packaged securely and transported in a way that I know I'm going to be able to use it when I get to my new place. That's just how I've always been. So I have a bunch of crap. It's basically what I'm saying.
So in summary, Megan's apartment is filled with just stuff.
Just boxes and
I know, I can see boxes in your background.
Okay, no, those boxes.
You got like a box tower going.
Okay, listen, that box tower is from when, I don't know if you remember the first day, which was a year ago today, I wrote on Facebook that I said I was going to try to find a place to live closer to my work. And I looked and looked and looked, but because the market is redonkulous right now, I found nothing, and I still live here. But I had brought home all of these boxes so I could start packing and get ready to move. Well, that never happened, and those boxes are literally still sitting there. So now what I'm going to do, it's springtime, so I'm going to take a weekend, and I'm just going to spring clean and purge. I'm in a purge feeling right now where I feel like I just need to get rid of stuff. And I need to do it when I have the gumption to, because otherwise I'm going to come back on that feeling and be like, no, it's nostalgic, and I want to keep it forever. But I need to get out of that headspace. So maybe I will get rid of some of my DVDs, but not the Lord of the Rings. Wait, that's Blu-ray. I don't know that I have any DVDs that I want to keep.
There you go. You already decluttered.
Yeah. I don't know.
Step 1, down.
I'll have to go through it. Maybe I should do it tonight while I actually feel like I want to get rid of them. No, it's so hard. Anyway. Well, that was a big rant about my clutter and
yeah,
how I live my life.
Yeah, we really brought that around.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
So it's your turn to roll.
It's my turn.
Heck yeah, it is.
I rolled halfway across. It's a good day, Megan.
What did you get? 20?
I got a natural 20.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
You have rolled the most 20s out of all of us.
Oh, technically, this is only my second one, and you rolled me one once.
Yeah, I did. That's
so
right.
Really, you rolled 2 and I rolled 2.
That's so true.
See, this makes it difficult, though, because then I get to pick whatever category I want, as opposed to just being told.
True.
Okay, I'm going to go with... Let me check this list real quick. Oh, you know what I'm going to go with? No. I am going to go with Give Me More Folklore.
Nice.
I'm double dipping in the folklore.
I kind of thought that you might want to go for something like that, because that's right up your alley.
Yes,
And
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the folklore.
Recording that one right before your birthday, so it'll be like a nice folklore birthday episode, which nobody will hear until after your birthday. But that's fine.
Oh, well, we're finished.
Yep. Yep, your turn.
I don't know why I thought there was another segment to this, but this is it. This is what we got.
That's right. Hope you liked it.
If you want to check out our social media, you can search The Grimdark Diaries. And if you check our Instagram, Megan is going to post the creepy picture, and she'll post some donut ships, and she'll post a really hot picture of Jason Momoa.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would like to reach out to us and tell us about the UFOs that you saw, and also send us your favorite pictures of Jason Momoa, you can email us at thegrimdarkdiaries@gmail.com. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, we would very much appreciate if you could comment and give a 5-star rating. And if you're on Spotify, you can also give us a 5-star rating or follow us on whatever podcast platform you are listening on. And tune in next week to see what I come up with for Give Me More Folklore. And remember, a friend in the dark beats alone in the light.